So, Somewhere in Time is a movie about Christopher Reeve who falls in love with a picture, and he becomes so obsessed with this picture that he travels through time merely by vibes, merely by believing that he is in the year 1912. Like that's all he does. And he spends most of the film looking for this woman, and they spend two scenes together in this whole movie. And this is like a hour and 40-minute movie. They're maybe together for 10 minutes and then he's
Cool.
pulled back into the present day by arguably one of the best and most evil ways to be pulled out of time travel ever seen. It's great. It's wonderful. I won't spoil it because it's so weird and wild and you do not expect it at all. If you look at any of the reviews on Letterboxd, you'll immediately know what pulls him back out of time. But I had the pleasure of not knowing beforehand, and it was a very enjoyable experience. But the reason I keep thinking about this film is it's not a perfect film by any means. I've seen lots of better films this week alone, let alone this month, this year in my life. But this film is stuck in my head in this weird way because this film is really about obsession. It sells itself as a love story. You look at the front of the Blu-ray disc and it looks like it's a love story about these two characters, but it's really not a love story at all. It's really about this one man's obsession with this woman, and this idea of fate and destiny. Because at the very beginning of the film, he's graduated college, he just sold his first play, and this old ass lady comes up to him and hands him this pocket watch. And she says, "Come back to me." You're like, that's fucking weird.
Mhm.
And then 8 years go by where nothing happens for no real reason. He's just driving by. Like, there's no reason he should be at this hotel. He just walks in the hotel and they're like, "Why are you here?" And he's like, "I don't know. I just decided to go to
Yeah.
this hotel. Like, I pass all the time." There's no logical reason why he goes to this hotel. And while he's at the hotel, he wants to go to dinner, but then the dining room's closed. So because he can't go to dinner, instead he wanders through this
Mhm.
historical area in which he finds this picture, this painting of this young woman. And he becomes so obsessed with this young woman because the young woman he finds out is the same old lady that handed him this pocket watch. And he's
Yeah.
fallen in love with this picture. He figures out, well, how does time travel work? How do I do that? And he goes to his old professor. And he's like, well, all you got to do is you got to close your eyes and you have to believe that you are in the year that you are traveling to. Like,
That's cool.
that's
That's
it.
not that's pretty easy.
But there is one rule, and it's a very important rule, and it is the crux of this film. You cannot have anything that is modern, which is imperative to this film. And so he lies in his bed, and there's this incredibly long scene where he is just trying. I mean, he's sweating, he's
Yeah.
profuse, he's wandering around, and Christopher Reeve is really giving it his all here and just obsessed with this idea of going to the past, going to the past, going to the past. And lo and behold, he does it. He travels into the past. And then he basically comes up to this woman and he's like, "You don't know me, but we're in love." And she's like, "You're fucking insane. Like, get away from me." And seems like they use a lot of mist filters because whenever they shoot outside, it is so
Mhm.
green and blue. It looks like a painting. And it's really cool to see and really beautiful. And I just become obsessed with this movie, just like he's become obsessed with this woman. And I don't know why, because there's nothing I can really pinpoint to. I mean, it's not like a great love story, it's not a great science fiction story, but there's something about it that just kind of eats away at you. And it's not even
Yeah.
while you're watching it that you feel that. I mean, when I was feeling it, I was having fun, it was enjoyable, but there was nothing about the experience. It wasn't like a film that where the moment that movie starts, you're like, "Oh fuck, this is a great movie." Like I'm very excited for the
Yeah.
experience. I mean, while I was watching this movie, I felt fine. I was enjoying it. I was having a good time, but I didn't really
Mhm.
feel anything in particular about it. But then after the movie in, ever since then, I haven't been able to get this film out of my head, and it's just sit there. It's like part of my brain now, forever, just has this in there, and I can't. There's just
That's
something
good.
about it that kind of picks at you, and you just can't stop thinking about it. So yeah, it's a really fascinating and weird film. And even though it was seeming to be made for this more of popular romantic kind of film, there's something weirdly transcendental about this film. It's almost as if the film itself is hypnotizing you.
Yeah.
You're in this space where you're not really part of the experience, but you're not watching it either. And you're in this really weird space, and time moves in this really weird way. I mean, when the film ended, I felt like I'd only been in the film for 20 minutes. And it's not because, oh, I was having so
Mm.
much fun. Time itself
Yeah.
contracts in this strange way. And I've never really seen anything quite like it. I don't think it's the best movie I've ever seen. I don't even know if it's going to go in my top 10 of the year, but it's definitely a movie that just, it won't go
Yeah.
away. It's
Hmm.
globs to you. I just can't stop thinking about it.